I covered my sister's mortgage, rent, and even cleared her debts. Yet, at the family dinner I paid for, she told our parents, "This failure will never have kids like mine." She laughed. Our parents laughed. But I calmly explained why I would no longer support her. And now she's losing her mind. Have you ever sat among people you've sacrificed everything for, only to realize they were laughing while you suffered? That's exactly how I felt that night. My younger sister, Sarah, was the golden child growing up, and that label never faded, even after high school ended and adulthood began tearing people apart. I pursued higher education, built a business from scratch, married my wife, Emily, and were blessed with 2 amazing children. Sarah, on the other hand, married Jake, and that alone could be the setup for a tragic comedy. Jake hasn't held a steady job in years. He drinks by midday and puts on a fake charm around my parents, like a faded TV host. Sarah always defends him, claiming he's trying, but the only thing he's consistent at is spending every penny I give them. And I gave them plenty. I paid their rent for over a year, settled 3 of Sarah's maxed-out credit cards, bought their kids' school supplies multiple times. When they nearly lost their home, I covered their mortgage for 2 months. I even gifted them brand new smartphones last Christmas, while mine were years old, thinking they needed them more. Emily rarely complained, but I could tell it bothered her. She warned me more than once. "David, this isn't kindness anymore. It's enabling. She's not your responsibility. She's your sister, and she's married. If you don't see that, you'll face the consequences." I ignored her. Emily comes from a small family, and I assumed she just didn't understand. Or maybe I didn't want to admit she was right. Then came that dinner. My parents wanted a family gathering, and I offered to pay, again. I covered everything. The meal, the decorations, even Sarah's gas because she was short this month. She arrived 40 minutes late, flaunting a designer bag and acting like royalty gracing peasants with her presence. Jake stumbled in behind her, already tipsy. As the wine flowed, they grew louder. Jake made snide remarks about how his kids were straight-A students. Sarah joined in, boasting about raising children who would achieve something in life, unlike others. I brushed it off at first. I was used to letting things slide. But then, as everyone laughed at a story Jake told about their child mocking a teacher, Sarah locked eyes with me, glass in hand, grinning like she'd been waiting for this moment. "That failure will never have kids like mine," she said, laughing. Jake laughed. My parents laughed. The sound was like static in my ears. I glanced at Emily. She didn't speak. She just pushed back her chair and stood up. That's when I knew. I stood too, looked Sarah in the eye and said plainly, "I'm done. No more mortgage payments, no rent, no bills, no gifts, nothing." She narrowed her eyes as if confused. Then she laughed again, thinking I was joking. I wasn't. I walked out. Emily and the kids followed, no shouting, no scene, just silence behind us. I thought it was over, but it was only the beginning. 2 days later, my parents called, asking about my tantrum. Sarah had twisted the story, claiming I'd yelled at her in front of the kids and stormed out, ruining the evening. Then it escalated. Sarah showed up at my office, uninvited. I was reviewing a contract when the receptionist called. "There's a Sarah here to see you. She says she's your sister." I froze. She'd never visited my office before, never even asked for the address. I hadn't told her about the new building after we expanded. "Is she alone?" I asked. "No, there's a man with her." Of course. Sarah and Jake strutted in like it was a casual visit, holding coffee cups, dressed like they were trying to appear respectable. Sarah wore heels she'd never bought on a budget. Jake had on a leather jacket he'd bragged about finding online. Vintage designer, he'd called it. I led them to a conference room. No chairs, no coffee, just silence. Sarah delivered a rehearsed apology. "I regret what I said at dinner. It was a joke that came out wrong." As if calling me a failure in front of our family was just poor comedic timing. Jake stood behind her, nodding like a bad actor. Then Sarah pulled out a paper. It read, "Serene Glow, her new business." Handmade candles, home decor, artisan blends. She claimed she was starting fresh and just needed a small investment. I said nothing, just stared. She mistook my silence for hesitation. "It's not charity, David. You'd be an investor." I said, "No." She blinked, then laughed. "Seriously," I repeated. "No." Jake stepped forward. "You owe us. After everything we've done for this family, it's the least you could do." I asked, "What have you ever done for this family?" He spat, "We held things together when your parents couldn't." I told them to leave. Sarah started screaming, actually screaming, in my office. Jake slammed his palm on the table and got in my face, calling me a selfish piece of trash and accusing Emily of pulling the strings because she always hated them. I walked out and called security. They were gone in minutes. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. The next morning, my father called, upset. There'd been an incident. Jake had tried to break into their garage at 2 a.m., claiming he'd left tools there. He didn't knock, didn't call, just tried to pick the lock. A neighbor saw him and called the police. Later, my dad found a duffel bag hidden in the garage, filled with vodka bottles, loose cash, my mom's jewelry, and old company documents of mine I thought I'd shredded years ago. That night, I dug deeper. I checked old accounts and found a failed login attempt to a dormant business account from my parents' IP address at 3:14 a.m. 2 weeks prior. It wasn't a coincidence. I hired a cybersecurity expert. Within hours, we discovered Sarah and Jake had tried to open a $50,000 line of credit in my name using my social security number and old records. The application was for Serene Glow. It failed only because they couldn't verify my employment since I owned the company. Then came the insanity. 3 days later, Emily called me in a panic. A stranger was taking photos of our house, claiming it was going on the market. He showed her a printed listing with our address and a fake contact number. I filed a police report and hired a private investigator. The listing was traced to a burner phone bought by Jake under his real name. I confronted Emily with everything: the fraud attempt, the stolen documents, the fake listing. She asked the only question that mattered: "What are you going to do about it?" I didn't sleep that night. Part of me wanted to walk away, block them, change the locks, and never look back. Emily disagreed. "David, you've been avoiding this for years. They used you. They mocked you. They stole from you. They tried to sell our house. What's next?" I asked what she meant. "Destroy them," she said coldly. And we did. We reported everything. Sarah's welfare fraud, claiming to be a single mom while living with Jake, Jake's past DUIs, their forged documents. The IRS, police, and social services launched investigations. Within weeks, their accounts were frozen. Sarah's business collapsed. Jake was arrested after showing up drunk at my house with a knife. Then Sarah sued me for emotional distress. The case was laughable. Her lawyer dropped her quickly. Months passed. Sarah ended up working at a gas station. Jake vanished. Their kids were pulled out of school. Then, one day, Sarah appeared in my backyard during a barbecue. She looked broken. "I lost everything," she said. "You were right. I'm sorry." She asked if I'd ever let her back into my life. Not for money, just to not be strangers. I told her I needed time. As she walked away, I felt nothing but exhaustion. Now, I'm left wondering, did I do the right thing? Or did I become someone I no longer recognize? Please comment in, and if you enjoyed this story and felt the emotions behind it, don't forget to give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences and heartfelt stories. Your support means the world, and it helps us bring more content like this to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.